Hey, Dr. Jacob with Primal Medical. Today we're going to talk about nutrition. Now, if you remember the last video with fitness, I alluded to that you need a number of building blocks to fuel this new body, this increase in muscle mass that you're going to be gaining with optimal hormones. Now, number one, the tool for gaining muscle is protein. You've heard this your whole life. You know this. You've probably heard these numbers, and I'm going to reiterate them. So it's this. 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of ideal body weight. So for example, I weigh about 215. I bounce between 215 and 220. My ideal weight, I'm going to lean out a little bit more. I want to weigh just over 200 pounds. So my goal is to hit 200 grams of protein per day. A little more here and there, but at least 200. Now, 200 grams of protein a day is kind of a lot for me because my appetite's not usually that high. So I have to prioritize my protein in order to avoid filling up the glass, so to speak, with other things and then pushing out the protein. So, for example, I'll try to get 50 grams of protein in 4 meals. Now, I typically only eat 2 times a day, like as full meals, 2 major meals, like a lunch and a dinner. So that means I have to hit 2 other times where I'm going to eat 50 grams of protein. So I'll snack here and there with protein to make sure that I hit that 200 grams a day. So the reason I say 50 grams of protein per meal is because your body really can't absorb much more than 50 grams, up to 60 maybe if you're a big guy. So if you're cramming in 75, 100 grams of protein, you're really kind of wasting it, and it increases the load of digestion, and it's just not going to come into your favor. So try to prioritize 50 grams of protein max per meal and hit that target weight, which you want to weigh. So if you're trying to weigh 150, you've got 3 meals of 50 grams a day, or break it up however you need to. But back to that baseline, you need to get adequate amount of amino acids or proteins for the building blocks to fuel muscle building, but also muscle maintenance and recovery. Because every time you exercise, you're breaking down proteins, and you need fuel building blocks to go in there and repair and regenerate. So that's the basics. You've got to get your protein in. Next, fats. This is rule number 1. It is the biggest rule of fats. You have to avoid unhealthy fats. This will cause a pro-inflammatory state in your body. It becomes the cell membranes of your body, and it takes about 8 years to get through all those cell membranes with these bad fats, and I'm going to tell you what they are. So one of the worst is linoleic acid. You can Google this, research it, read about it if you want to get wonkish about it. But linoleic acids are going to be the worst types of fats, and these are found predominantly in vegetable oils. So you're going to want to avoid vegetable oils. This is what's found in canola oil, your standard vegetable oil, peanut oil, sunflower oil, cottonseed oil. You can hear a theme here. They're all vegetables and seeds. And these type of oils, just unfortunately, they're everywhere and they're terrible for you. So I'll get you more details if you want them, of course, but essentially avoiding the seed oils and replacing them with animal-based oils or fruit oils. So for example, tallow, which is beef oil or beef fat. Butter is fine. If you want the dairy out, you clarify it and create ghee. And this is easy to do. You essentially boil butter, scrape off all the white stuff, and then what's left is this oil, which is essentially cow oil. Wonderful for cooking in. Olive oil, as long as it's pure. A lot of olive oil is mixed with vegetable oils, and you got to look for that. Olive, of course, being a fruit, and it's used by the olive, not the seed. And so next would be avocado oil. Again, avocado oil is based on the fruit and not the seed, and therefore much healthier. Coconut oil, also acceptable. MCT oils are great, and that's about it. You're pretty limited in your oils. Of course, animal fats, rendered fats, whatever you want to use there. So that's going to be your best source of fats. Next, carbohydrates. If you can avoid them, great. The less, the better. Most people have no problem eating carbohydrates, and therefore they have an abundance of them. And that abundance of carbohydrate takes place, or the space of, the proteins and the healthy fats. So if you have a big meal where you're eating a bunch of breads and pastas and other things, likely your appetite isn't going to be available for adequate protein. And if it is, the combo of the two, you're overeating and you have more calories than are necessary and you're going to gain fat. So I say reduce your carbohydrate intake to maintain adequate energy, but not body fat. So typically for people, if you want to lose fat, you got to cut the carbs down to close to 100, maybe 150 max. And that doesn't put you into ketosis, and it's adequate amount of carbohydrates to maintain activity and energy, but it's not enough to go over into building body fat or amassing increased body fat. So that's your macro simplified guidelines. Now, you're going to have to do some math if you want to get into your calories, and if you want that extra service, reach out. We'll help you with a full dietary breakdown. But essentially, enough protein, avoid the bad fats, and limit your carbohydrates. You're good to go. That is your nutrition from the Primal Medical team.